The panel is on, accelerating retail in India. How do we get the next 500 million customers? How do we go out there, grab them, and accelerate to, capture that market share? We have an esteemed panel here, and I would say it's a wow panel. Great mix, people from different domains. We'll quickly start. I guess don't want to keep you guys away from the lunch. Sushant, I'll start with you, because
Okay.
you're firstly just the closest to me, but you also come from a similar fraternity where I come from, the food industry. So, India is no more about the bhel puri, about the vada pav. It's also idli sambar, it's daulat ki chaat, samosas, now even momos, right? And, I keep saying that हमारे देश में अगर एक चाय वाला प्रधानमंत्री बन सकता है, मोमो वाला भी कुछ कर सकता है, but आप क्या tier 2 में कॉफी वाला बनते हो या you try and create that cafe culture? Because it was really insightful to know that, you're there in 62 cities, right? So, if I have to break it up, I would say the metros and the larger metro cities would be like 10 to 12, similar to metro cities. Then you would have the tier 2. You would have the non-metro cities, and then you would have tier 2. So getting into 62 cities, giving India that coffee, that experience, how do you draw out the entire strategy to, capture new markets, create those experiences? It'll be very insightful for us to know.
Right. So thank you. I think, as you rightly said, the people, according to me, exist. Whether it is in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and now with information being available and knowledge being available, everyone is actually looking forward to the experiences. They are aware of what is available out there. They want to experiment beyond what is available for them in their city. And in many ways, I think tier 2 and tier 3, because of limited availability, the aspirations are higher. So if you can reach them and reach them in a manner where you make profit, so if you get your back end right and if you get your P&L right, I think the opportunity exists in tier 2 and tier 3. You have to create the model for yourself where you are asset light, you make enough money even at that point and get the back end in place. In terms of what the people want, I think you need to be careful, and I think you mentioned that in a sentence. As you expand, I think the big challenge is how do you maintain your standard, what you stand for at the core, while also looking to localize and in some ways influence the new set of consumers. So that balance between what you stand for. In our case, for example, we are about coffee. We, at the end of the day, are an American brand. People, when they come to Starbucks, expect a certain kind of connection, ambience, certain kind of food and beverages. We need to give that. But having said that, we also need to localize. We also need to, we are in the food and beverage industry. You cannot say that all taste will remain the same. So you'll need to localize, you'll need to figure out what exactly is, and in India, as we keep saying, and the best example that I have, mainly when I am dealing with people in the US or outside, is think of India as Europe. Every country has a different culture. Every district has a different.
Rather, every large city is like a country in a country.
By itself, right? And in terms of
so,
social
Sushant,
cultural,
this differentiation is in the product. Comparing a metro to a non-metro, is it the service? Is it the kind of people who are serving the consumers also?
So that is a challenge. I think there is a bit of a difference in terms of exposure. So when you expand, one of the things that you need to be very, very careful about is your learning and development. You need to ensure, and mainly in an industry like ours, where it is about the connection, where it is about the service, it is not just about the coffee, it is also about making that connection with the consumers. So you need to ensure that the standard of people who are there in your store, the partners as we call them, in a Mumbai or a Delhi, is the same as a Raipur or a Siliguri. So the training becomes important. Them understanding the nuances of what the brand stands for becomes important.
And do you also use vernacular when it comes to training?
Absolutely. If you don't do that, you cannot.
Localization.
Yeah, if you don't localize. So as we have expanded, as you rightly said, we are in 62 cities right now. So we are in all the states. We just opened Jammu last week.
Wow.
And so we now, so we have our learning and development all in vernacular.
I'll come back to you, Sushant. I'll move to Aastha. Aastha, the new shop defines convenience, right? And when you think of convenience, you largely look at the urban India. You look at the metro cities. And I was amazed to know that you're in 33 cities, right? And you're serving 33 cities convenience 24/7. So India puri raat jaag raha hai, right? And the other thing is that in today's day and age of quick commerce convenience, right? How are you trying to, distinguish yourself from A, being a market leader or a trendsetter? The fact that, you are keeping your stores all night open, and B, there's this notion that, certain parts of India opening all night might not be safe, etc., etc. So how do you go along, setting that trend? I believe all your stores are franchise. If you can also highlight on micro entrepreneurship, that would be super helpful.
Awesome. So before I go into explaining why we're doing what we've been doing, I think it's very important to define what really convenience retail means. A topic grossly misunderstood in India. And as there are multiple retail formats all over the world, convenience retail is one type of retail format where a customer goes to find products and services which they consume within the first 1 hour of purchase. And proximity to the customer, where they live, where they travel, where they work, where they study, is what makes convenience retail so successful and almost like a $3 trillion industry globally. So an interesting fact, when we were starting out New Shop in India and with a proposition that we'll be open 24 hours and we'll target the top 100 cities of India, the first thing people asked us was, oh, but India is not a safe country. And, you're going to be creating bloodbaths and, I'm by the way a female and I'm obviously very thoughtful about safety concerns above everything else because I put myself in the same shoe. And an interesting fact is 66% of our sales happen between 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. And this is a number that is consistent in not just metro cities, but even tier 2, 3, and tier 4 cities. So I think I can proudly say, wherever New Shop is, that city becomes safer. So we have 6 stores in Meerut, and we've been around in Meerut for almost a year. No bloodbath so far. In fact, you'll see that the cities and the locations that we are at, we lit up our stores beautifully, like they're very well lit. And on the contrary, you actually see more women now stepping out of that house after 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. because they think it's safe to do so. I've grown up hearing, "Achhe ghar ki ladkiyan bahar nahi jati." And I'm proud to say that I'm changing that notion because India is now a safer country. So yes, there's contribution of infrastructural development. OTT has, by the way, been the biggest fuel, right? If you see Netflix and Amazon and all OTT consumption, content consumption, it actually peaks after 10 p.m. And once that happens, customers have their needs. There is nobody solving for those needs and nobody thought that these new needs can get created. So thanks to convenience retail offerings 24 hours that these needs are being met. Now, those needs may not just be a packet of chips, but even things like quick on-the-go food, need a new pen drive, a battery charger, forgot my son needs to do his or her homework. I need to get a packet of crayons, or oh, I forgot to print out something and I need to now rush and print out my boarding pass or my ticket, or I need to now send, or withdraw some cash. Maybe I'm not going to be able to find an ATM at this time, so why don't I just go to my nearby convenience store? And we also have electric vehicle charging stations at some of our stores in highways. So it's this wholesome category that provides for all the products and services that a customer in that location needs. And that is what really is convenience retail and the power of it. Now, convenience retail is something that we always knew at the back of our mind that has to be very entrepreneurial driven. And convenience retail is something that is like the DNA and the pulse of every single country in the developed world. Why? Because these all countries went through this massive revolution where there were these mom and pop or kirana stores or corner shops, and which were the easiest businesses to start. But as time progressed and the countries modernized, developed, and the cost of real estate and opportunity costs of running that kirana store versus renting it out, and the new generation finding better employment prospects at like more fancy locations that have a higher social currency come into play. These all stores would have to be evolved and upgraded into what the modern India would need. It's happened time and again in multiple parts of the world. It will happen in India, and we saw that revolution happening forefront. So it was the core DNA of our entire business model was how do we make entrepreneurship democratized and accessible to everyone. I mean, it's sad that typical franchise models have not really been entrepreneurial driven in India so far. And that's what we wanted to change. There have been many success stories of how convenience store owners in different parts of the world started with one convenience stores and are now multimillionaires. And that's the business opportunity we wanted to create for young India. And another interesting fact I'll tell you, there's a recent survey that was conducted and it said that 83% Indians want to become entrepreneurs given a chance. And that's much above the global average of 53%. And even in white-collar workforce, 1 out of 2 people would quit their jobs if they had a good business opportunity. But unfortunately, long gestation periods, lack of skills, training, financial resources, and of course, limited understanding and adoption of technology make it very difficult for anyone to pursue business ownership. We thought that convenience retail is that one opportunity where anybody does not need to have super extraordinary skills or great know-how. But if we create a business model which is kind of like idiot-proof and can make anyone a business owner, then we will be able to upgrade Indian status and social standard of living, provide multiple job opportunities, and take this to not just the heavily overserved metros, but the real Bharat and true India. So our vision has always been we will empower 10,000 entrepreneurs in India by 2030, and this entrepreneurship is coming from the top cities, top 100 cities outside of the metro. So I hope that answered your questions.
So yeah, I think you're going deep, you're going wide. We can safely say that पहले हम हर locality में बोलते थे there was a security guard और वो बोलता रहता था पूरे रात को कि जागते रहो. I think in that locality now we need to have a new shop store and everyone
Absolutely.
will be awake.
And most of our stores are run by 20-year-olds. The average age group of a franchise owner is about like 21.
Super, super. So you catch them young, grow with them. I'll move to Deepak. Deepak, Timex, as far as I recall, has been a time memorial brand of our times. And how are you catching up with the changing times? How are you seeing Gen Z being different from the youth of Bharat, or is there a similarity? And also the reach that we were all talking about, right? I mean, today you have exclusive stores in 62 cities. Via distribution, you get to 300 cities. How far and how deep can you go to, or you intend to go to capture the next level of consumerism in the country?
Yeah, thank you, Sagar. So, we know our core competencies, and we know we are a brand, and
You can just keep the mic closer to you. Yeah.
I hope you can hear me. Yeah. So basically, what we are playing to is we are playing to our core competency. So we know we are a brand and we are a product company. So we are rather doing strategic partnership with our distribution partners, our technology partners, supply chain partners, and even our OEM partners. So largely what we are trying to do is we're not trying to do everything ourselves. And that's what is needed if we have to really go to, say, next 500 million consumers. If all of us try to do everything from product, marketing, distribution, retail ourselves, then probably we are not clubbing together our resources. I think that's precisely we have been trying to do, wherein we do have stores, which are franchised, of course. Again, we are not a retailer ourselves, we are a brand. So we feel there's somebody else who can do a better job at retailing. Similarly, on the distribution side, we have got into strategic partnerships. So whether it is distribution network or CNF network, so largely our go-to-market strategy is clear that we are not going to do everything ourselves. We are going to focus where we are, what we know the best, which is to roll out the best of the products, the best, build the brands, and create, demand, and leave the rest of the things to our partners who can do a better job. And that would be more, cost-effective as well. I cannot be there at, say, 1,000 cities, even if I want. The second part is, there is nothing called physical or digital. For us, everything is same. Howsoever we can reach to a consumer, we want to reach. Even if it is, say, tomorrow through, say, TV marketing. I don't know, Korea, 60% consumption happen on TV marketing. So we have to be open on exploring all channels, how you can reach the consumer, rather than being stuck, this is the only way to do. Why I need my own stores only, Timex Word or Just Watches, why I can't sell from, say, Malabar, jewelry, why I can't sell from apparel store. That's what we are thinking ahead. so that we remain focused on our core competencies rather than creating a network which already exists. So that's our, on the gen, how the consumption is changing between millennials and Gen Z. I think they are a bit more aware. They are more experimentative rather than, going by the book. They don't mind trying new things. They want it sooner than later. So speed becomes important. Yeah, but of course, watches as a category, you don't need a blanket to supply. They can wait, but of course, they are not ready to wait for longer period. And that's where we service through all channels. E-commerce is becoming bigger. Our .com is growing at a faster pace, while we continue selling from 5,000 point of sale. So that's how it is. So largely, what I would like to summarize is, if we are looking for the next 500 million addition to current existing 800 million consumer, we as a cross industry has to collaborate rather than all of you or all of us trying to doing the same thing. Then it will be difficult. We'll create an infrastructure which is like unviable because we are not pooling the resources. Let's see who has better core competency in a particular area and pool it together. I can offer something else which I'm strong at. I think that's the key. Else, all of us creating infrastructure on everything, whether supply chain or everything else, will be a state where none of us will be viable because the cost of operation would be much, much, much higher. And it becomes relevant when it comes to technology. We want partners because I know I cannot develop technology. But when it comes to distribution, I'm a bit hesitant because I know I can develop distribution, but why do I have to? When there are people who have that core competency, let me focus on acquiring more consumers, giving them the relevant merchandise, doing assortment so consumer need is fulfilled by the local taste. So that's what I feel, Sagar.
समय बदल रहा है, समय के साथ साथ एक घड़ी बेचने वाली कंपनी भी बदल रही है. अच्छा लग रहा है सुन के. But I'll come to Nitesh ji. We were just talking about AJIO business, and India is a country where the taste, the trend changes every 100 kilometers. And you mentioned to me that you've chalked down 2,700 towns and cities to enter, which is massive. It shows the depth of India, right? Tell me one thing, through AJIO business, how are you trying to evolve or be that change when it comes to tier 3 or 4, the real Bharat? I mean, we all know what is happening in the metros because हमारे को जो दिखता है हमको लगता है वही हो रहा है. But how are you penetrating into the fashion segment? Opening these stores that you mentioned. You have ambition to get to 10,000 stores. If you can just give us some insights on that.
So in AJIO business, we started doing basically online. We were serving retailers. We had 1 million retailer listed in our portal, and monthly we used to serve 300,000 to 400,000 retailers. And they were ordering a small options, small quantity, and logistically it was becoming very difficult. So what I did, I have changed the whole game, where we have gone from online to offline. So through traditional distribution and through traditional wholesale market. So I am going into the wholesale market in Kolkata, Bada Bazaar, in Dadar, in Chickpet, in Bangalore, in Gandhi Bazaar, and opening a wholesale store, 10,000, 20,000 square feet wholesale store with a local partner, and trying to give our all private levels to these retailers. What we were trying to do online, I'm trying to do offline. In the pyramid, we as a business is trying to play with the mass. And the mass consumer is very different, and it is, I feel, is a 70% of India. In India, people says every 9 miles, water changes, language changes. है ना? हर 9 मील पे भाषा change हो जाती है. So consumer behavior change. India as a consumer is a market where people still want dhania free. So is a regional knowledge is very, very important to cater. When I started doing networking, where I can go with this. So what I did this again, we are good in dealing with the end consumer. So we started also doing B2B2C. So launched a brand called Fashion World, where we plan to go to around 2,700 cities.
Wow.
So below 2 lakh population everywhere, we are going and opening.
There is a market everywhere below 2 lakhs.
Yeah. So store will be 3,000 to 5,000. Is all unorganized retail in fashion, where I want to go and open our fashion stores. And a kind of price point. So we as an organization believe giving the good quality product in a good price. We do not believe in everything earned today only. We believe in taking market share. So his idea is to go to the market and give a feel of organized market through franchisee route and through, we are trying to create a small entrepreneur in the small cities. So the first store I opened in Sitamarhi.
And what made you think about the franchisee route when you're going more deep in India?
Because they know better, those consumers, than me. Sitting air-conditioned office in a metro, they understand, as I said,
The
every
power
9
of that
mil-
micro-entrepreneur.
Yes. So they understand those customers well in the small cities. So I opened a store in Sitamarhi. The guy said, "Sir, Lagan ka time hai, I need suits." I said, "Where you will sell suits in April, May month?" So I sent him some consignment, every piece sold out
Wow.
because of the marriage, right? So sometimes sitting in one place, we have worked definitely in a market, but still India is beyond 7 metros or maybe another 14
This is super
cities.
insightful because someone, coming from AJIO, you wanting to franchise, the reasons behind it. I mean, everything doesn't happen in Excel. You can't have logic for everything, but reasoning for everything becomes very, very important. That's very insightful. Very insightful. I mean, we've always believed to do Coco stores at WOW. But today, when we look at tier 3, tier 4, we feel that having that one micro entrepreneur in an Aizol makes more sense than, you going and running it yourself.
So look, if you want to run a premium brand, Coco is a different ball game. You want to go in market, you want to open a store in Imphal,
Yeah.
you need a local partner in
Yes,
Imphal.
yes.
You can't succeed.
True.
Right? You are from Calcutta, you know this better.
True.
Right?
True.
So Northeast is a gold mine for
True,
any business.
true. No, it's
You
super,
want
super.
to be in Northeast, you have to be with local partner. You are safe. Your business is safe. Your money is safe. And you are doing what you want to do.
And you grow faster.
Yes.
Super. Radha sir, I'll come to you. We are seeing AJIO moving from B to B to C, from digital to also getting into the physical wing. And like Deepak said, it's the phygital world. Nothing is digital, nothing is physical anymore. The convention is also called PRC, which is Phygital Retail Congress. But Radha sir, you have been a veteran in the supermarket grocery space in FMCG for years now, right? I mean, I just got to know that when you were with Sumeru, I was not even born, not even thought of. Coming from you, today, how are you seeing adoption of technology in the tier 2, tier 3? And how are you using technology, for expansion, for growth? How are you looking at going wide for distribution, right? I mean, you gave some amazing insights, which I also want you to give to the audience that, the reach in India, can be massive and can be infinite. If you can just define that for us.
So, no, I think grocery, by definition, is a very localized business. This is why it has never been the success factor for e-commerce players. There is no e-commerce player today who has done grocery at the level that they should be doing, because you cannot courier from here to Guwahati. So Guwahati e-commerce must happen inside the city. And even doing city-wide, a complicated city like Bombay, it's not easy being present in Vashi as well as being present in South Bombay. So there are challenges as far as grocery is concerned. It is very, very local. And I remember when I was involved in the company which started the first retail outlet, there were so many strikes that happened from the unions saying that modern trade will close down the Kirana shops. Actually, what has happened is the Kirana has closed down many of the modern trade shops. I'm not sure many of those guys who started along with us are still alive. I'm not sure many of the grocery chains, except a few, are really making money. The issue is that grocery is a very local business. And going to tier 3 towns, well, we are 140 billion people. I mean, 1.4 billion people. Everybody is eating every day for the last, ever since they have been born. So it is not as if grocery is not there. The thing is, if you want a particular kind of grocery to reach there, then you have to do something else. So I'm connecting these 2 points that you mentioned. Really, the question is, do we have one brand from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Haldia to Jamnagar? Is there one brand which sells everywhere? I'm not talking of dominance. Even being present, we will struggle to think about one brand which is everywhere, whether it's biscuits, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's toothpaste, whether it's detergent powder. This country is completely like millions of small islands. मैं मेरठ का राजा हूँ. Aastha, you will become the king of quick commerce in Meerut. But what about Salem? What about Trichy? What about Karur? What about Kottayam? I mean, there is a world there. It is infinite. For any business, whether it's Timex or whether it's AJIO, whether India is undiscovered, is unreached. And the 3 words, the 3 A's that is going to define the next 20 years in this country is aspiration, affordability, and access. The story for India will have to start from town number 5,419. What we have seen so far since independence is hardly 10% of what India is going to be in the next 20 years. So technology has to change. People have changed. People don't have any more social inhibitions in the way they speak, aspire, buy, and adopt. So I think I wish I were, 30 years younger. I mean, but really, it's a good time to be alive.
No, I think that's super insightful. I was reading one article which even mentioned that HUL with its hundreds of brands is able to only reach to 93% of the households in India. So imagine even someone like an HUL is still, pushing it out there. And while we were chatting, Sushant rightly mentioned that it's about the first movers advantage. Who gets where first to be available there and grab that market share.
93% of all households in India, I think he's got his data wrong.
And the other thing, before I come back to you, Radha sir, I quickly want to go to Nitin. Nitin, you are using technology to, for the go-to market for brands that are global brands, and we all talk about artificial intelligence now, AI, right, which has become the new thing. Where do you see the role of AI comes in when, we come off the metro cities? Have we still adapted to it? Is it just for the seller side where, it helps him or her to make their brands more available in the ready-fit market, plan better? Or even from the consumer sense, you feel that when you, market these products, the consumer also from uses AI in a way to determine, what is good for him or her, or the noise around a particular product. Like today, if I talk about something, I see the ad of that same thing in Instagram. How it happens, I don't know, but someone is listening there, right? So what do you think is the role of AI in this entire?
And I'll talk about specifically on the retail side.
If you can just keep the mic, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll specifically talk about on the retail side of the business. So where we see the role of artificial intelligence coming in, and I'll also share what we are doing so far, because it's a journey. We just about kind of started. Because we started off as a tech company, and then we realized almost all large brands used to, work with us. We had FMCG, like a Procter & Gamble, and we would have, fashion brands, watch brands, almost all categories, including pharma brands. But we were solving only the omnichannel commerce problem. And then, we saw that tech is, a smaller problem, right? We can write a code, develop the tech. But the larger problem which the organizations have is the adoption of tech.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because, they have systems, processes built over decades. It's very difficult to change those. And that's why disruption always happens from outside, right? So, but the consumer doesn't have any such constraints. Consumer keeps evolving very, very fast, right? And during pandemic, of course, we saw what all happened, and that behavior just got accelerated by, kind of 10x. So during the pandemic, when we saw opportunity to acquire, some of the business of our clients. So, and we thought, we could solve some of these problems. And so where we use, just coming back to specific question on the AI bit, we see the role right from manufacturing, design, supply chain, logistics, all the way to the consumer. So the role has throughout. Just to share with you what things we are doing, again, like I said, it's still a less than 3-year journey. So we first started off solving problems at the front end because we couldn't solve all the problems. That's why we let go all of our SaaS clients about 1.5 years back. So now we focus our entire tech bandwidth only solving our problems because we saw the commerce platform which we were offering was only one part of the problem. You have front end and you have back end, so front end is a dark store because online is easier, at least for us. But the offline side of things where you don't have enough data, which you can capture. The opportunity is immense, but how much are you capturing so that, because if you have to build AI engine, you need to have data platforms in place. So first you have to digitize the operations to see how can we capture the data from it. And similar was the scenario from backend. So we first focus on the front end side. So I would say largely on the front end side, what we wanted to do, what we have done. So the first step was to digitize entire retail operations. Say, okay, how do you digitize retail operations? So every activity which you do, whether it is training, whether it is visual merchandising, the dwell time of the customer, understanding what's lying on what shelf, because on online we know the browsing behavior will get all the data, right?
Yeah.
But on the brick and mortar you don't get it. So what we did was that we deployed ESLs, or let's call them electronic shelf talkers, on each of the shelf. Our initial purpose was because when we change the price of some product online, it changes immediately, customers are able to see. But offline the POS changes, but doesn't change on the shelf. So how does the customer know? We said, okay, let's start with this. Then we start putting that. So now when our engines, the pricing engines actually, that's where AI is also being used. When they decide based on rate of sale and our inventory, that what should be the pricing for this? Shall we reduce the pricing? So the auto pricing engine reduces the pricing and the pricing changes immediately. So online you see it, offline you will see on the shelf talkers, it seems very, very clear what the new pricing is. But then we started realizing there are other data points we started getting, which was that what's lying on what shelf? Is it the rate of sale? Is it changing? Is it moves to a different shelf? So all the data helps us to now plan the planogram. So that's stage one which we did. Second thing, we put sensors in our trial rooms. So today when you pick up a product and take it to a trial room, we know what went to a trial room, what went to the till. So it's like an offline product funnel. And if some products are not getting picked up at all, is it a question of location? Shall we change the area?
So you can project better.
Exactly. So we know that what's getting tried, what's not getting tried. So what we can improve upon it better. On the other catalog side, I remember the old days when we were on the SaaS side, we used to have an army of people writing content and descriptions and all of that. And thanks to be honest, now, through Gen AI, it's become very easy. We are 4 people now.
Wow.
Right? We're only 4 people who manage it. And largely, they are largely there because we are launching, every year we launch a new brand. We have to supervise it till the time, the model is working fine. So it just takes a couple of seconds.
So a lot of solutions from the brand's end, from the
Yes.
seller's end. Anything from the buyer's end that you think you need to work on, or you think we're still ahead of time?
We are trying to now understand the consumer behavior.
Okay.
Right? To say, okay, for example, now on the fulfillment side, if I have to say, we get, of course, customer data on all our own channels, but on third-party platforms, which are a large part of our business, like Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon, etc., we don't get the consumer data, but we get fulfillment data, where somebody is buying. And we are realizing that, that's become part of our, penetration strategy as well. Wherever we're getting decent amount of, online orders, we actually now putting up a store there. The moment we put up a store there, in most cases, we are realizing that the demand increases. At the same time, our fulfillment cost is reducing because now we're shipping out from the store. So today, 18% of our sales are coming from store sales are coming from online orders shipped to the stores, right? So we are delivering to the consumer, I would say not as fast as we would like, but definitely at a much lower cost because
inventory management
is getting shipped out.
Yeah.
And then, as consumers are walking into the stores, whether you say it's the, they are seeing a physical manifestation of the brand in their location, so there's building more trust, but we are realizing that not just the online sale is increasing, even the offline sale starts to increase. And the more customers walk in, we try and understand them more, what they are liking, what they are not liking, what gender is coming to the stores. But I was discussing with Aastha before we took over the Leon Agro business, they had stopped, the women's merchandise completely. But our AI-enabled cameras were telling us about 12 to 13% of the footfall was women. And then we launched women's wear. And fortunately for us, it's kind of worked out. It is now almost close to, I would say, 8.5 to 9% of our sale and it's only been one season. It's the second season we are
And
launching.
I'm sure every success case would just make you
Yes,
evolve
it's a
more
journey.
and more
There's
deeper
a
in
lot
this.
more to do, but the first step is build data platform, start getting all the data, onto that platform, and then you can, layer it on with AI later on.
Okay, so for us, time's up. Very quickly, I think when you want to attract new customers, we are all talking about the future, nothing about the past. If I want one word from each one of you, what do you think you need to do? One word or one line for massification in the right manner. What would that be? Radha sir, I'll start with you.
Sorry, Sagar, I didn't get that.
So I'm saying if I want one word or one line from all of you, that what we need to do for massification, because we're talking about the future, we're not talking about the past, right? India is the future, the next decade, the next generation. If you have to tell me for massification in one word or one line, what would be your go-to strategy?
Create value outside the top 30 cities.
Super. Beyond 30, उसके बाद सोचो, ठीक है? Deepak, what about you?
Yeah, I would say collaboration. That's important if we really want to, go to a wider
Very
set of
true. It's
consumers.
no more about competition, about collaboration, brand collaborations. Yeah. Aastha,
I think marry aspiration with affordability.
buying aspirations. Interesting. Nitesh ji.
So there is a consumption in India, in the last corner of the country. The right product and right price you try to give, you will win your battle.
Got it. Value, right value. Yeah.
So I would say get the data. It will also tell you what the future holds for you and how to be more efficient and effective.
Data
The
will
growth
continue
also
being the
lies
king.
there.
Super. Sushant.
I think it's about the people for us, to right training, right development, so that you make the right connections as you massify.
I mean, Sushant and we were chatting. Starbucks is one organization that gives 2 days weekly off for all its employees. It ensures insurance for the parents. And I think it's an industry. I mean, our retail industry is by the people, for the people. And I think focusing on people will definitely be important. That's it, guys. I think time's up. Thank you so much. Have kept you guys away from lunch. But thank you so much. Please enjoy the lunch, enjoy the momos, enjoy the Chinese from Hong's Kitchen and everything else. Thank you so much.